The Masks We Wear. Chapter 1, The Perfect Daughter. Eleanor Ellie Whittaker was the epitome of perfection in the eyes of her parents. She was the straight-A student, the obedient daughter, and the pride of the Whittaker family. Her parents, Margaret and Charles Whittaker, were pillars of their small, conservative town. Margaret was a former beauty queen turned socialite, and Charles was a successful attorney with political aspirations. They had high expectations for Ellie, and she had spent her entire life trying to meet them. But behind the polished facade, Ellie was a girl with dreams that didn't align with her parents' vision. She loved art, music, and the freedom to express herself in ways that felt authentic. While her parents pushed her toward a career in law or medicine, Ellie secretly dreamed of becoming a graphic designer and traveling the world. She had even started an anonymous online portfolio under the name Luna, where she shared her artwork and connected with like-minded creatives. Chapter 2, The Double Life. Ellie's double life began in high school. While she maintained her perfect grades and attended every family function, she also snuck out to open mic nights at a local cafe, where she performed under the pseudonym Luna. She dyed streaks of her hair vibrant colors and wore clothes that would have horrified her mother, but she kept it all hidden beneath wigs and layers of conformity. Her online persona, Luna, became a sensation in the art community. She gained thousands of followers who admired her bold, colorful designs and her candid posts about self-expression and breaking free from societal norms. But as her online presence grew, so did the risk of her secret being discovered. Chapter 3, The Pressure Builds. As Ellie entered her senior year of high school, the pressure from her parents intensified. They began planning her future in meticulous detail, from the prestigious university she would attend to the internships that would set her on the path to a respectable career. Ellie felt like she was suffocating, but she couldn't bring herself to disappoint them. One evening, after a particularly grueling family dinner where her parents discussed her future as if she weren't even in the room, Ellie retreated to her bedroom and logged into her Luna account. She posted a new piece of art, a self-portrait that depicted her trapped in a gilded cage, her face a mask of sadness. The caption read, "How long can you wear a mask before you forget who you really are?" The post went viral, resonating with thousands of people who felt similarly trapped. But as the comments and messages poured in, Ellie couldn't shake the feeling that her secret was slipping through her fingers. Chapter 4, The First Crack. The first crack in Ellie's carefully constructed facade appeared at the school art show. Ellie had submitted a piece under her real name, a safe, traditional landscape that she knew her parents would approve of. But when she arrived at the show, she was stunned to see one of her Luna pieces displayed prominently in the center of the room. It was a vibrant, abstract painting titled Breaking Free, and it had won first prize. Ellie's heart raced as she scanned the room, terrified that her parents would recognize her style. But before she could react, her art teacher approached her with a smile. "Ellie, I had no idea you had such talent. This piece is incredible, it's so different from your usual work." Ellie forced a smile, her mind racing. "Thank you," she said weakly. "I wanted to try something new." As the evening wore on, Ellie's anxiety grew. She could feel her parents' eyes on her, their curiosity piqued. When they finally approached her, her mother's voice was laced with suspicion. "Ellie, this painting, it's very unconventional. Are you sure it's yours?" Ellie's stomach churned. "Of course it's mine," she lied. "I just wanted to experiment." Her father frowned. "Well, it's not the kind of thing we want people associating with the Whittaker name. Stick to the classics, Ellie." Chapter 5, The Breaking Point. The art show incident was a wake-up call for Ellie. She realized that she couldn't keep living two lives forever. But the thought of revealing her true self to her parents filled her with dread. She knew they would never understand, never accept her for who she really was. The breaking point came when Ellie was accepted into the prestigious university her parents had chosen for her. They threw a lavish party to celebrate, inviting all their friends and colleagues. Ellie stood in the corner of the room, forcing a smile as she accepted congratulations she didn't want. That night, as she lay in bed, Ellie made a decision. She couldn't go through with it. She couldn't spend the rest of her life living someone else's dream. But how could she tell her parents without destroying everything? Chapter 6, The Revelation. Ellie decided to reveal her true self in the only way she knew how, through her art. She spent weeks working on a new piece, a massive canvas that depicted her journey from conformity to self-discovery. The painting showed her shedding her mask and stepping into the light, her true self vibrant and unapologetic. When the painting was finished, Ellie invited her parents to her room. They entered with puzzled expressions, clearly unsure why she had summoned them. Ellie took a deep breath and gestured to the painting. "This is me," she said quietly. "The real me." Her parents stared at the painting in stunned silence. Finally, her mother spoke, her voice trembling. "Ellie, what is this? What are you trying to say?" Ellie's heart pounded, but she forced herself to continue. "I've been living a double life. I've been Luna, the artist, the free spirit. And I've been Ellie, the perfect daughter. But I can't do it anymore. I can't keep pretending to be someone I'm not." Her father's face turned red with anger. "Do you have any idea what this could do to our family's reputation? Do you think we've worked this hard just for you to throw it all away on some childish fantasy?" Ellie's eyes filled with tears, but she stood her ground. "This isn't a fantasy. This is who I am. And if you can't accept that, then I don't know if I can be part of this family anymore." Chapter 7, The Aftermath. The days that followed were a blur of tension and heartache. Ellie's parents refused to speak to her, and the house felt like a prison. But Ellie held on to the hope that they would come around, that they would see her for who she truly was and love her anyway. One evening, as Ellie sat in her room, there was a knock on the door. Her mother entered, her eyes red from crying. She sat down on the edge of Ellie's bed and took her hand. "I don't understand," she said softly. "But I love you. And if this is who you are, then I'll try to accept it." Ellie's heart swelled with relief. It wasn't the full acceptance she had hoped for, but it was a start. Her father, however, remained distant, his disappointment palpable. Epilogue, A New Beginning. Ellie eventually enrolled in an art school, much to her father's dismay. Her relationship with her parents was strained, but she knew she had made the right choice. She continued to create under the name Luna, her art a reflection of her journey and her truth. Years later, Ellie's work was featured in a prestigious gallery. As she stood in front of her paintings, surrounded by admirers, she caught sight of her parents in the crowd. Her mother was smiling, her eyes filled with pride. Her father's expression was harder to read, but he gave her a small nod, a silent acknowledgement of her success. Ellie knew that their relationship would never be perfect, but she had finally found the freedom to be herself. And that, she realized, was worth everything. The end.
The Secret She Couldn't Keep. Chapter 1, The Perfect Couple. Sophia and Daniel had been together for 5 years. To everyone who knew them, they were the perfect couple. They met in college, where Sophia was studying literature and Daniel was pursuing a degree in engineering. They balanced each other out. Sophia was creative and dreamy, while Daniel was practical and grounded. They shared dreams of traveling the world, buying a house, and maybe even starting a family someday. But Sophia had a secret, one she had kept buried deep inside her for years. A secret so big, she was terrified it would destroy everything they had built together. Chapter 2, The Secret. Sophia's secret was simple yet devastating. She had a child. A daughter named Lily, who was now 6 years old. Sophia had given birth to Lily when she was just 19, during a brief relationship with a man who had disappeared shortly after learning she was pregnant. Sophia had been too young and too scared to raise a child on her own, so she had made the heart-wrenching decision to give Lily up for adoption. It was a closed adoption, meaning Sophia had no contact with her daughter or the adoptive family. She had tried to move on with her life, but the guilt and grief never fully went away. When Sophia met Daniel, she was determined to leave her past behind. She told herself that Lily was part of a life she no longer lived, a chapter she had closed for good. But as their relationship grew more serious, the weight of her secret became harder to bear. Daniel was kind, loving, and trustworthy. He deserved to know the truth. But every time Sophia tried to tell him, fear stopped her. What if he saw her differently? What if he couldn't forgive her for keeping such a huge secret? What if he left her? Chapter 3: The cracks begin to show. As the years went by, Sophia's secret began to take a toll on her. She became increasingly anxious and withdrawn, always afraid that the truth would come out. She avoided conversations about their future, terrified that Daniel would bring up marriage or children. She even lied about her past, creating a fictional version of her life that didn't include Lily. Daniel noticed the change in Sophia. He could sense that something was bothering her, but every time he asked, she brushed him off. "I'm just stressed about work," she would say, "or I'm tired." But Daniel wasn't convinced. He loved Sophia deeply, but he couldn't shake the feeling that she was hiding something from him. Chapter 4: The Breaking Point. The breaking point came one evening when Daniel surprised Sophia with a romantic dinner at home. He had cooked her favorite meal, lit candles, and even bought her a beautiful necklace. As they sat down to eat, Daniel took her hand and looked into her eyes. "Sophia," he said, his voice soft but serious, "I love you. More than anything. But lately, I feel like there's something you're not telling me. Something big. And it's tearing us apart." Sophia's heart raced. She wanted to tell him the truth, to finally unburden herself, but the words wouldn't come. Instead, she forced a smile and said, "There's nothing wrong, Daniel. I promise." But Daniel wasn't fooled. "Sophia, I know you're lying. I can see it in your eyes. Whatever it is, you can tell me. I just want to understand." Sophia felt tears welling up in her eyes. She wanted to tell him, but she was paralyzed by fear. What if he hated her? What if he left her? She couldn't bear the thought of losing him. Chapter 5: The Truth Comes Out. A few weeks later, Sophia's worst fear came true. She was at work when she received a phone call from an unknown number. Her heart sank when she heard the voice on the other end. "Sophia? This is Emily, Lily's adoptive mother. I'm sorry to call you out of the blue, but Lily has been asking about you. She wants to meet you." Sophia's world spun. She had never expected this. She had always assumed that Lily's adoptive parents would keep her existence a secret. But now, her past was crashing into her present, and there was no way to stop it. That evening, Sophia went home and found Daniel waiting for her. He looked upset, and Sophia knew immediately that something was wrong. "Sophia," he said, his voice trembling, "I got a call today. From a woman named Emily. She said she's the adoptive mother of your daughter." Sophia felt like the ground had been ripped out from under her. She sank onto the couch, tears streaming down her face. "Daniel, I'm so sorry. I wanted to tell you, but I was scared. I didn't want to lose you." Daniel sat down beside her, his expression a mix of shock and hurt. "Sophia, how could you keep something like this from me? I thought we trusted each other." "I do trust you," Sophia said, her voice breaking. "But I was so ashamed. I thought you'd see me differently if you knew." Daniel was silent for a long time. Finally, he said, "Sophia, I love you. But this is a lot to process. I need some time to think." Chapter 6: The Aftermath. The next few weeks were agonizing for Sophia. Daniel moved out of their apartment, saying he needed space to figure things out. Sophia was devastated, but she understood. She had betrayed his trust, and now she had to face the consequences. During that time, Sophia reached out to Emily and arranged to meet Lily. It was an emotional reunion, filled with tears and laughter. Sophia was overwhelmed by how much Lily looked like her, and by how much she had missed. But she also felt a sense of peace. For the first time in years, she was being honest, with herself and with the people she loved. Chapter 7, A Second Chance. One evening, Daniel showed up at Sophia's door. He looked tired, but there was a softness in his eyes that gave her hope. "Sophia," he said, "I've had a lot of time to think. And I realized something. I love you. I love you more than anything. And while I'm still hurt that you kept this from me, I understand why you did it. I want to be with you, Sophia. But we have to be honest with each other from now on. No more secrets." Sophia threw her arms around him, tears streaming down her face. "I promise, Daniel. No more secrets." Chapter 8, A New Beginning. Sophia and Daniel worked through their issues together, rebuilding the trust that had been broken. They even met Lily together, and Daniel embraced her as part of their family. It wasn't easy, but their love was stronger than the secrets that had threatened to tear them apart. As they stood together, watching Lily play in the park, Sophia felt a sense of peace she hadn't felt in years. She had finally faced her past, and in doing so, she had found a future filled with love and hope. The end.